Level 1. Police recruit. You are 21. You don't walk into the academy. You are processed into it. A clerk hands you a number, not a name, a number. You wear it on your chest for the next 6 months. You eat with it. You run with it. You sleep in a dormitory knowing that by the time those months are over, some of the people sleeping around you won't make it to graduation. Your recruit class starts with 43 people. The facility is on the eastern edge of Coldwell City. Grey buildings, a track that never fully dries out. The smell is gun oil, floor cleaner, and the particular kind of stress that comes from 43 people trying simultaneously to be good enough. You are not a police officer yet. You are a recruit. The distinction matters. You carry no badge, no authority, no weapon outside of training. You carry only the expectation that you will earn all three or go home. The curriculum is structured and relentless. Criminal law, report writing, defensive tactics, firearms qualification, emergency vehicle, operations, crisis intervention. You absorb all of it because the alternative is going home. Your lead instructor is a 15-year patrol veteran named Sergeant Briggs. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. On week 3, he puts a scenario on the board. A man, a crowded street, an object that might be a weapon. You have 1 second. He says, go. Nobody answers fast enough. He lets the silence sit. That hesitation, he says, is the part that gets people killed. Yours or theirs? 1 second is a long time to be wrong. You write it down. You will remember it for the rest of your career. Week 6. You run a simulation. Domestic disturbance. A door opens. Someone charges from a hallway you didn't cover. You freeze for 3/4 of a second. Your training evaluator marks it on a form without looking up. You don't freeze again. Week 12. You qualify on the firearms range. Week 14. You clear your defensive tactics assessment. Week 18. You run your final scenario evaluation. A multi-stage incident with 3 simultaneous problems and no single correct answer. Just a series of decisions made in sequence that either hold together or fall apart. Yours hold together. By graduation, 11 recruits are gone. 30 to walk across the stage. Badges pinned. Photographs taken. Families in the seats. Your father shakes your hand too hard, the way men do when they mean something they can't say out loud. You are now a sworn officer of the Caldwell City Police Department. But you are not finished becoming one. Level 2. Patrol Officer. I probationary. You are 21, almost 22. Graduation doesn't make you a police officer in the full sense. It makes you a probationary officer, sworn, badged, and assigned to the field. But still watched, still evaluated, still provisional. You are assigned to the 4th district on the city's east side. Your field training officer is a 10-year veteran named Corporal Ames. Before your first shift together, he says one thing: forget the scenarios. Watch how people move, not what they say. You spend the next 12 months learning exactly what he means. Night shifts, weekend doubles, domestics, accidents, noise complaints, medical calls, everything in between. You write reports until your hand cramps. You talk to people on the worst days of their lives and try to leave things slightly less broken than you found them. Ames reviews every report you submit. He rides with you twice a week for the first 4 months. Less as the months go by, but his evaluations never stop. He marks what you do right and marks what you do wrong with the same handwriting and the same expression. At month 3, you respond to a domestic disturbance call on a narrow street of the warehouse district. The subject is at the door before you fully exited your vehicle. You read the situation correctly. You create distance. You use the car as cover. You talk the man down in 7 minutes without calling for backup. Ames doesn't praise you in the moment. That night in the report review, he circles the distance creation decision with a red pen. That one, he says, was right. That's the whole debrief. At the end of your probationary year, Your evaluation is submitted. Corporal Ames signs it. The district commander countersigns it. You advance to patrol officer 2. No longer provisional, fully sworn, fully accountable. Something quietly shifts. You begin to notice the calls that resolve differently. The barricaded subject on Alcott Street that holds 3 patrol units for 2 hours until a team in black gear arrives, flows through the door in 12 seconds and clears what patrol couldn't. You stand behind the tape and watch, not the gear, how they move, how 12 people operate like one organism that has been rehearsing this exact moment for years. You go back to patrol, but something in you has already made a decision. Level 3, Patrol Officer 2, SWAT Candidate. You are 23. The department requires a minimum of 2 years on the job before you can apply for SWAT selection. You apply the day you hit that mark. Selection is 4 days. Nobody warns you how surgical it gets. 41 candidates report at 0500 on a Monday. Every one of them has at least 2 years on the job. You are among the youngest in the parking lot, and you are aware of it in the way that makes you work harder rather than talk louder. Day 1 is physical to -m run in full gear. A 185 pounds dummy drag over 100 meters of asphalt. Obstacle course timed sprints 28. Make it to day 2. Day 2 is tactical room clearing drills in a purpose-built shoot house. Live fire exercises under timed conditions. A Tuerson element drill, where you and a candidate you have never met clear a 4-room structure using only hand signals. An evaluator follows you in silence writing on a clipboard. He never gives feedback in the moment. You learn to read your own performance because no one else will do it for you. Day 3 breaks people who survived days 1 and 2. Sleep deprivation contradictory orders. A problem-solving exercise where the instructions change 3 times before you finish step 1. A 7-year veteran with a commendation on his record sits down in the middle of a stress drill and doesn't get back up. An evaluator walks over, collects his candidate number, and points toward the parking lot. No words, just a lot. By morning of day 4, 11 candidates remain. Day 4 is the panel interview. The unit commander, a senior operator named Vasquez, and a department psychologist. They don't ask if you can handle pressure. They already know. Describe the last time you made a decision under stress that you later reconsidered. If the person to your left in the stack makes an error in a live entry, what do you do? And when you answer the way you actually think? The psychologist writes something down. Vasquez watches your hands. 4 days later, your phone rings. You answer on the first ring. You are in conditionally 6-month probationary evaluation period. At the end of it, the team votes, not the commander. The team. Vasquez hands you your first assignment sheet. Selection was the audition. He says this is the actual job. They're different. 6 months of everything twice. Full patrol shifts and SWAT training on your unit days. Building entry, breach techniques, hostage rescue scenarios, team movement, communication under stress. You carry gear. You clean weapons that aren't yours. You ask questions only when specifically invited to, and you make sure they're worth asking. At month 6, Vasquez pulls you aside after a training evolution. Team voted this morning. He doesn't give you the count. Welcome to the unit. Before we go further, if you've made it this far, comment what you want next. Hit that like button right now and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. We upload every single day. Level 4, SWAT Operator. You're 24. You're on the team. Being on the team and being trusted by the team are two different things. Trust here is not assigned. It is witnessed slowly across dozens of training evolutions and real call-outs under conditions that remove every mask a person wears and leave only what is actually there. Your first call-out as a full operator comes at 11:40 p.m. on a Wednesday. A man named Gareth Moss, wanted on felony weapons charges, has barricaded inside a row house on the west side of Caldwell City. Intelligence says he has a rifle and has stated he won't be taken alive. Crisis negotiators have been on the phone for 90 minutes. He's not irrational. He's deliberate. That's wars. Your 5-person element takes secondary breach on the rear. Your element leader is Vasquez. In T. Staging area. He looks at each of you for exactly 2 seconds each. Nothing said, everything communicated. Negotiation collapses at 1:12 a.m. Breach goes at 1:14 a.m. Rear door, kitchen, hallway. You move with the automatic fluency that months of drilling has built into your body, not thinking about the next step, already on the one after. Subject taken into custody on the second floor. No shots fired. 11 seconds. Debrief. The team leader, Sergeant Calloway, walks through every second. He reaches your name. Rear, hallway. You paused at the kitchen threshold. Third of a second. Body cam caught it. You don't explain yourself. You nod once. Fix it, he says, and moves on. That third of a second stays with you for 3 weeks. You drill the threshold crossing until your body is through before your mind finishes the thought. Over the next 2 years, you accumulate callouts. Some are intense. Most are methodical. You learn that the job is 90% preparation and 10% execution, and that the execution is only ever as clean as the preparation beneath it. You learn your element the way you learn a language. Slowly at first, then suddenly all at once, Vasquez instinctively takes the left angle in any split corridor. Rice needs 20 seconds of controlled breathing before a breach. Ortega reads threat angels faster than anyone, but vocalize her calls a half beat late under high stress, something she's correcting. You know these things the way you know your own heartbeat. Because when you're in the stack, your life and theirs are the same thing. Level 5, Senior Operator. You're 28. 4 years on the team changes how you inhabit a room. You don't decide to read it anymore. It happens automatically. Entry points. Threat angels. The difference between cover and concealment. What hides you versus what actually stops around. Choke points. Sidelines. Where the danger comes from and in what sequence. Vasquez is promoted to corporal. His element leader slot opens. You are offered it. You accept without celebrating. You go home that night and sit quietly thinking about what it means to be the person in the stack that the other 4 are synchronized with. Not because they're ordered to be, but because they've chosen to trust you that completely. Your first call out as element leader is a barricaded subject at a commercial warehouse on the city's industrial corridor. The subject, a man named Elias Burke, is a former security contractor with documented firearms training. He's been inside for 4 hours. Negotiators have intermittent contact, but nothing is holding. Your element takes secondary entry on the east loading dock. You spend 90 minutes in planning. Contingencies for if the primary entry point is compromised. Contingencies for if Burke moves before breach. Contingencies for if comms go down. Plan then plan for the plan failing. The operation runs at 0530. Primary and secondary entries go simultaneously. Your element clears the corridor, a break room and a storage area. Primary element makes contact in the main warehouse space. Burke surrenders. Nobody is hurt. Debrief. Calloway pauses on your element's movement log. Clean execution. Communication to primary at the 40 mark was sharp. He moves on. No ceremony. An acknowledgement that you did it right from someone who has seen enough done wrong to know the difference. Leadership here is not about being ahead of your team. It's about being so synchronized with them that the line between your decision and their movement disappears entirely. The best element leaders aren't the ones their team follows. They're the ones their team moves with. There is no word for that difference. You just know it when you feel it. Level 6 Corporal. You are 31. You are promoted to Corporal, the first supervisory rank in the department. Inside the SWAT unit, it means something specific. You lead your element independently when the sergeant is managing the broader operational picture. You assist with planning cycles, equipment accountability, and the development of newer operators. You also start doing something nobody formally assigns you. You watch the newer operators the way Vasquez once watched you. One of them, a 26-year-old named Castillo, 2 years in the unit, is technically sound but over-communicates under stress, crowding the channel when the stack needs silence. You work with him for 3 months, not in formal sessions in the spaces after training evolutions, cleaning gear when everyone else has gone home. You don't tell him what he's doing wrong. You show him what right sounds like until his ear learns the difference. By month 3, his communication is cleaner than most operators with twice his experience. Callaway says one thing to you about it. That's the part of this job that doesn't appear in any report. Do more of it. A kidnapping call-out comes in late autumn. A 12-year-old boy named Daniel Varga taken from a schoolyard held at a residential property on the city's southeast edge. Intelligence is partial. Layout unclear. One confirmed firearm. You are on the door. Entry is clean. 22 seconds from breach to child in custody. Daniel Varga walks out wrapped in a thermal blanket, cold, frightened, and unharmed. You stand in the front yard and watch him reach the ambulance. Then you go back inside to help with scene documentation. Nobody marks a call-out done until the paperwork is right. Level 7. Sergeant, you are 35. You passed the sergeant's examination on your first attempt. You are assigned as a squad supervisor within the SWAT unit. 10 operators to 5-person elements. You are responsible for their training, their readiness, their equipment, their conduct, and their well-being in a sense that no checklist can fully capture. Callaway, now a lieutenant running the unit, gives you one briefing. No paper in front of him. As an operator, your job was to be exactly where you were supposed to be at exactly the right moment. As a sergeant, your job is to make sure 10 other people can do that. If they can't, it's on you, not because the department says so, because that's what it actually means. You run your training cycles hard and varied. Predictability in training builds complacency in operations, and complacency gets people hurt. Night scenarios, multi-structure drills, communication failure exercises, so your operators learn to adapt when the plan stops matching reality, which it always does eventually. One of your senior operators, a 7-year veteran named Draper, goes through a difficult period mid-year. Still professional, still operationally sharp, but there's a flatness in planning sessions you recognize because you felt it yourself. You don't address it in a report. You sit with him after Thursday training and talk about nothing important for 20 minutes, the way you would with someone you've trusted your life to for 7 years. Because that's exactly what he is. By month 2, the flatness is gone. The largest call-out of your sergeant tenure is a bank hostage situation on the city's main commercial corridor. 2 subjects, 3 hostages, a floor plan your intelligence is 60% confident about. Negotiators run for 5 hours before one subject destroys the communication line. Lieutenant Calloway runs command. You run your squad elements positioned. Sight lines coordinated with the other squad. Sergeant Sniper integration managed. Constant communication with command as the situation evolves. Negotiators re-establish contact at R6. 1 hostage released as good faith. Negotiated surrender at R7. All 3 hostages walk out. In the debrief, Calloway looks at your squad's positioning log. Clean squad management. The sight line correction at R4 was the right call. You tell him one of your operators flagged it during a comms break. That's what I mean. He says level 8. Lieutenant I SWAT team commander. You are 40. Calloway retires in the spring after 30 years of service. He clears out his office on a Friday. The unit gathers. Someone brings food. There are stories told that won't leave that room. Built from shared experience that only makes complete sense to the people who were there. The laughter is specific. You only understand it if you've earned it. Calloway shakes your hand last. You're not ready, he says. You look at him. Nobody is. That's not the qualification. The qualification is that you'll do it anyway. You're promoted to Lieutenant 1 SWAT team commander. The weight is different from everything below it. As sergeant, you were responsible for 10 people and what they could do together. As lieutenant, you are responsible for the entire unit. Both squads, all 22 operators, the training standard, the equipment readiness, the tactical capability, and every command decision made during every call-out the unit runs. You still deploy. That matters to you. You stay at the forward command post on every significant call-out close enough to read the operation in real time far enough back to hold the command perspective. Your first major call-out as lieutenant is a barricaded subject situation that becomes a hostage situation when the man takes a neighbor inside during the initial patrol. Contact. Documented mental health history. 2 firearms awake for over 40 hours. You run command for 6 hours. 2 sergeants, 2 squad elements, sniper overwatch, negotiation team. Decisions made in real time as the situation shifts. Adjusting element positioning when new structure intelligence arrives. Changing the negotiation approach at R4 when the initial strategy stalls, authorizing a tactical entry plan at R5, and standing it down 10 minutes later when the negotiator reestablishes meaningful contact. The situation resolves at R6. Surrender. Hostage unharmed. In the debrief, your senior sergeant looks at your command log. You stood down the entry at R5. Nobody would have questioned the other call. The negotiator said, "Give her 10 minutes. She'd earned that." One nod. That's the whole conversation. Command is not the accumulation of authority. It is the accumulation of judgment. And judgment in this unit is built from the experience of having been in the stack yourself, knowing what it costs from the inside before you ever ask anyone else to go there. Level 9. Captain. Commanding Officer. You are 44. You are promoted to Captain and named Commanding Officer of the Special Operations Division. SWAT. Bomb disposal. Crisis negotiation. A formal office. A command staff. A budget that requires quarterly justification to department leadership. You are no longer primarily an operator. You are a leader who was once an operator. That distinction determines everything about what you are now responsible for. You promote Sergeant Harland. 11 years in the unit. The steadiest judgment on the floor. To lieutenant and name her the new SWAT team commander. Not for seniority, for the judgment. The two are not the same thing. And confusing them is how units get worse. A major incident comes in your second year. Active threat at the city's downtown transit hub. Multiple subjects. Multiple interior locations. Patrol contains the perimeter. SWAT is called. You don't take tactical command. That belongs to Lieutenant Harland and she runs it cleanly. Your role is different. Interfacing with the incident commander. Ensuring SWAT has the resources and operational clearance it needs. Approving secondary element deployment to an unplanned location based on real-time intelligence at the 90-minute mark. The situation resolves at 2 hours and 20 minutes. All subjects in custody. No fatalities. At the press briefing, your name is mentioned once in passing. You are already back at the command post reviewing the incident log. That night, sitting in your office at 900 p.m., you think about Castillo, the young operator who over-communicated under stress, who you spent 3 months quietly developing when you were a corporal. He's a sergeant now. He ran one of the elements today. His communication in the incident log is textbook. You think about Daniel Varga, the 12-year-old in the thermal blanket 9 years ago. He'll never know how many decisions were made that morning to make sure that blanket was for warmth and nothing else. That's the nature of it. Level 10. Commander, Deputy Chief of Special Operations. You are 48. The Chief of Police calls you in on a Thursday morning. She doesn't have a list, just the conversation. The Deputy Chief of Special Operations position opens at end of fiscal year. I'm not offering it yet. I'm asking if you want it and if you understand what it means. What does it mean? You ask. It means you stop being the person who fixes things, she says, and start being the person who builds the system that fixes things. Those are not the same job. You accept. As Deputy Chief of Special Operations, your decisions affect personnel in units you will never personally deploy with. Your policies shape training standards for officers joining the department 5 years from now. Your budget allocations determine what equipment exists when the next major incident happens. You are the institutional memory of what it means to do this job right. You attend a recruit graduation in the fall. 43 recruits, the same number that entered your academy. Class 27 years ago. You sit on the platform and watch them cross the stage one by one. 21, 22 years old, carrying numbers instead of names. No idea yet what the job will ask them to become. A young officer, third in her class, catches your eye during the reception. She's standing near the back of the room looking at a photograph on the wall. The SWAT unit 20 years ago. You're in the back row, hair shorter, a younger version of whatever you've become. She notices you looking. Is that you? She asks. Back row, left side. She studies the photograph. Then you. What do you have to do to get there? You think about everything that would be accurate. The number on your chest at 21. The 4-day selection. The 6 months of proving yourself to people who owed you nothing. The stack and the thresholds and the call-outs and the years. The weight of leading people who trust you with their lives. The weight of the decisions that were right. The weight of the ones that kept you awake at 3 a.m. Running the alternative. Everything. You say. And then a little more than that. She nods like she understands. She doesn't. Not yet. She will.